Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope that you are doing great. Hope that all is pleasant for you. And most importantly, my friends, hope that you are in good health. Once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. On this channel, my friends, we get to talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. These, my friends, are the things we talk about here on the Common Sense channel. So once again, my friends, welcome to the Common Sense channel. It seems to me that immigration reform and voter registration are tied together. And I think Trump is up to something. I was watching the news yesterday, and I saw that same old face. His name is Chuck Schumer. This man, I can say from the time I've been in this country, that man been in that same position. So you got to start to look at people like that. Chuck Schumer, I think it's time you retire. And here's the thing again. I said previously that any politician that would talk about black people, that will use black people in their quest to gain power and whatever is it they're looking for, I'll talk about you on my channel. So Chuck Schumer, today is for you. Chuck Schumer, I think it's time you leave black people alone. Stay away from black people. You understand? When you talk about voter registration, don't count black people in it. You know why? Because black people are not dumb. Maybe the generation before this one, those ones that were born from the mid-90s to 2000, they're not stupid. If you don't know this, I want to bring this to your attention, Chuck Schumer. I know there are professional people out there that make dumb argument. The argument is so dumb and lame that low-income housing people, low-income American citizens cannot afford $25 to get an ID when it's election time. It seems to me again that they do this stuff every election season. That's when they come up with a bogus argument that Americans are so poor that they cannot afford $25 to get a state ID. Let me tell you what happened to you, Chuck Schumer and the Democrat Party. If the Republicans are doing this, I would do the same thing to them. That's why I created my platform, because I've been watching y'all do this crap. I'm not going to use the other word, but I'm going to say crap. I know you understand it. Let me tell you what happened, Chuck Schumer, if you don't have an ID. If you don't have an ID, one time I went to the bank, Chuck Schumer. I've been to this bank on numerous occasions. And everyone in the bank knows me. You understand? Chuck Schumer and the Democrat. Because I didn't have my ID, even the lady that I spoke to all the time that I've been to that bank would not serve me that day until I show my ID. Why? Because it's policies. Just like voter registration, it's also policies. Every country on this planet, Chuck Schumer, maybe you think Americans are dumb, and you need to stay the hell away from black people, you Chuck Schumer. Stay away from black people. Stay away from our generation. Because we're not dumb. We're not dumb. Just because I didn't have my ID, I had to go home, grab my ID. I did always have my wallet, but I forgot my wallet this day. I had to go home, grab my wallet before they can take care of my business. You understand? If you want to go into the federal building, you need an ID. There are a lot of places in this country, even going to the club. Some clubs require, I think most clubs require to see it's a form of identification called ID before you can enter. If you go to the grocery store to buy cigarette, whatever is it that has some regulation on it, you have to show ID. So if you are sitting there, some of you say elderly people, right? You make kids for people of color. I don't know what that means when you guys say people of color, but I think Democrat Party, you need to stop saying people of color. When you say people of color, you have to define what that means. Say black people, if that's who you're talking about. Because let me tell you, black people are not dumb. And the reason when I started this video, I said maybe broken immigration system or policies is tied to voter registration, because that's how people like you, Chuck Schumer, been in that place for 30, 40 years. And you're not willing to step aside and give another person with a brain. You keep peddling this same 1964, 1950s, an argument about people not having the right to vote. They don't have ID. Election time is November 2nd. Sometime the date change. It can be the 2nd, be any other day, whatever date is set it on. You have enough time. So if you don't have voter ID, this is the time you go and get it. Every country on this planet that practice democracy has that requirement. You must have an ID. If you don't have an ID, they won't allow you to vote. You can't talk about how great this country is, how powerful this country is. And in 2026, you're still making an argument, a failed argument for voter registration. You and Al Sharpton, both of you. Al Sharpton, I don't even know what he's up to. Al Sharpton is one of those old, beat up, he just keep talking, still walking on the shoulder of great many men. And he's talking about civil rights. Civil rights don't make no sense. Leave black people the hell alone. Okay, now here's the thing, Chuck Schumer. If you say black low-income people can afford to get an ID because they have their low income, why don't you and your party come out with budget? Go in the hood where you think, I tell you, I can bet you, Democrat Party, you go in the hood where you think black people live, in the project, in the case of New York, the project, set a table outside and then count how many black people you see come out of that project that don't have an ID. If you're lucky, maybe you have 3 or 4. Black people have ID. If you say, if that's who you're talking about, when you use the race code, low income, when you use the race code, people of color or minority, right? That's who you're talking about. And I said on my channel, any politician running for office in this country that use color, race, especially black people, I would talk about you. There's nothing you can do about it, because we're sick and tired of you doing this crap to black people. You haven't passed. Democrat, you and Republican are the same, but you do it all the time, and we're calling you out. You haven't passed a meaningful legislation on black issues since 1964. And I'm going to say this again because it's historical. Even in 1964, you didn't do a damn thing for black people. That legislation that got me here today wasn't passed by you. You understand? You need to leave black people alone. And I don't know what FBI is waiting for. FBI need to get on your case. And I love what Phil Scott is doing, calling you out. That's what we're going to do. Because we're sick and tired of you trying to pass the same shit you passed from 1964 on black people, talking about the history, and when you're not going to do a damn thing for black people. Not one single legislation you pass. And you haven't done, even all your policies are dismal. Haven't done anything. Leave black people the hell alone. The real reason why you're concerned about this whole voter registration is because that's what got you there. If people were showing their identification card when they go to vote, I bet you, Chuck Schumer, you wouldn't even last too long in that seat. They will remove you. And the thing is, when you're not doing what you need to do for any constituents that you're serving in this country as a politician, you're not supposed to be in there for one term. One term is enough bounds. So we can get progressive in there. Leftist, progressive, aka leftist. That's who I'm making case for on my channel. I'm not talking about Democrat, established Democrat. No, that's you, Chuck Schumer. You established. You and these established Republicans. Stop using race. Leave black people alone. Leave us alone. You understand? We know we can afford $25. I don't know how much for a driver's license or identification card in New York. I don't think it costs that much. But black people can afford, even low income, black people can afford that stuff. You don't even, Chuck Schumer, you don't even need to fight for that. Why don't you fight for them to get money, to buy houses, to get out of apartment? That's what you need to fight for, not voter ID. Because you know they need that so they can keep you in office. And meanwhile, you're doing nothing for them. That goes for all of you Democrat. Your party is messed up. Your party don't do anything. It's do nothing party. The only thing you're concerned about are those things that keep you in power. So I think Donald Trump does some good things and he does some bad things. But there are people that want to see some reform on voter registration in this country. So you can stop using that as a reason to stay in office. You want to talk about the past? You want to go back into history, Chuck Schumer? And you and Al Sharpton, you want to go back into history and talk about the party that was suppressing black voter registration in the South? You want to talk about that? It's your party. There's historical record out there that it was the Democrat having these black people sit down and count beans. You understand? Giving them litmus tests, giving them tests that you know they won't be able to pass just so they don't vote. You want to talk about student? If you're a student in this country, you need ID. If you go to school, any school you are, you need ID. If you misplace your ID, go get a new one. If you know election is coming up in November and you know you're a student, go get an ID. If you're elderly, you can't go to the poll to cast your vote. There are other ways you can do online registration. Why are you pretending as if these people are so disabled? They're so poor that they can't afford an ID. Even if they can, provide the money, Chuck Schumer. Go, like I told you, I gave you a solution. Because some of you think we're just stupid. And you want to use race. And I say, stop using race. We're sick and tired of this bullshit. I'm sorry, YouTube. But we're sick and tired of this. These people keep doing this stuff. And you see him, he's coming out there like he's your Jesus, trying to save you. He's sitting on there with his face, all of the same old face, the same old look, the same old ammo, the same old argument. That man been making that argument for almost 40 years now. For the registration, we're going to fight. Democracy. Get the hell out of here. If you truly believe in democracy, you will strengthen it. You'll make sure anyone that go to cast a vote should have an ID. This is across the board in every country that I've been to, that I've seen people voting. If you're not a citizen of that country, if you're not eligible to vote, don't go there. And I agree with that. If you're not supposed to be voting, don't vote. Because it's these people that are voting illegally that are putting this clown in office, that are putting people like you that are doing nothing. Just imagine one congressman is so old that he has to sit in. Look at Mitch McConnell. Who keep voting for Mitch McConnell? He's in wheelchair. He's not even to himself. The other one, what's her name? Nancy Pelosi. Who keep voting for these people? You understand? So something needs to be done. And if you don't understand Chuck Schumer, hmm, if you don't understand, you don't know who Donald Trump is. Let me tell you, that was one of the things, and I'll remind you again, because most of you are sleeping during that campaign. That was one of the things that Donald Trump said he was going to fix. And I think if they can fix, if there's something done about voter registration in this country, I think it's going to solve the problem of immigration too. It will fix, I think both of them are interconnected. Yeah. So if if this administration now can find a way to fix voter registration, because that's not even supposed to be a problem. Because look at India. India has 1 billion people. But you never hear of anything like that in India. That's civilization right there, when someone is civilized. There's no cheating. You go, they cast their vote. They're a highly religious country anyway. They know they can't cheat. The Indian, they go, you hear Russia, you hear other country, even France, Germany, you don't hear that stuff. But for some reason in this country, it's always the problem. And every election season, since I've been here, I've seen Chuck Schumer, the same old complaining. And if this is something that's very important to Chuck Schumer, right? He could have fixed that. Could have fixed that a long time ago. 1 year is enough for you to fix it, Chuck Schumer. But you wouldn't fix it. You wouldn't when it's election time. That's when you bring it up. Because you think when you use that in your head now, it's been working. It did work. But look, our generation, we're not going to stand up for that. You understand? And I said, I will be doing this. Any politician that uses our people, black people, black issue, black situation, black emotion, black history to advance your career or to get yourself in power, we'll talk about you. And Chuck Schumer, you're one of them. I think it's time you go away, just like Obama. Go away. We want a progressive, aka leftist, in there, because they'll get things done. You understand? There's no way we can get rid of the two-party system anyway, because you guys are entrenched. The country is divided along that line. If you're not a Republican, you're a Democrat. And if you're not either one of them, you're in the middle. That's how it is. And we're the ones that get screwed. We get screwed all the time by you too. And for me, it makes me upset. And then moreover, you're using race. You're using stuff that you guys were the one doing that stuff in the South, the Democrats. And you haven't apologized yet to black people. You haven't made any amends yet for all the things you've done, for all the people that were lynched by your party. And you know it too. There's historical record on this. And you haven't said nothing. You just want to close the chapter and move on. Just close the chapter on them and move on. You understand? Voter registration, my friends, is actually intertwined with immigration reform. So the best way to fix, I think Trump is up to something. You may not like him, but I think he's up to something. And anyone in this country that live in this country, that 2020 election that Donald Trump lose to Biden, he hasn't forgotten that. And he's going to do something about that. And I think it's going to lead to solving immigration in this country. Because immigration is tied to voter registration. Black people don't even know it. And they're slowly wiping them out. And that's why that guy, Chuck Schumer, can come up there and talk blah, blah, blah. I've seen him many times say the same thing, the same talking line, everything. As far as I can remember, Chuck Schumer has always shown up there. That's why he's in that position. That's his job. He's using things that happened in the past that was terrible to stay in power. So maybe if now in the future, since we're in the digital age now, as far as AI is concerned, we can digitize voter registration. That way there's no cheating. So if you campaign well, which I know Chuck Schumer doesn't do much in his campaign, go and lie, say a few things to the people and then walk away, go sit down and get reelected. So when the voter registration board, which is the federal government actually in charge of voter registration, the whole process, the whole election, has to bring integrity and transparency to it. If you say you believe in democracy, then that's one of the pillars of democracy, of a democracy. You don't want someone to go and vote, take all the time, spend all the time going and vote, stand in a long line, and then their vote is not counted because someone want to cheat. You understand? That's not even supposed to be talked about in this country. In 2026 right now, that shouldn't be a problem, because technology is as advanced now than it was, say, some 10 years ago. But that's the only way you can bring some integrity to the whole process. And for those people that really want change, I think a comprehensive reform to voter registration in this country can help you. You don't have to be famous. Your parents don't have to be one of these famous people out there, because we know how they recruit. If you're in this country, you're bright, you're smart, you have great intention for this country, you want to see the best and the better and the greatness of this country, you can't run. You need almost $500 million to run, which is not fair. And if you're doing a grassroots campaigning, if you're not one of those ones that were recruited by the elite, they didn't call you, because if they didn't recruit you, because some of these people, like the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, they start recruiting people from the time they were even in high school. In high school, they start recruiting some of these kids. They recruit them and groom them until they go to college. While they're in college, they're still grooming them. By the time they're ready, they just put them out there. In your head, you're thinking that's grassroots. But it's not from your neighborhood. That individual is already been groomed to a certain point to represent whatever is it the elites want them to represent. So if you're grassroots from the community, say your roads are not clean, or schools are not working well, and say there are crimes everywhere, and people of the community comes together and say, we need change. Let's appoint someone to represent us so we can get the change that we need. If you get someone from the grassroots, that person don't even stand a chance, because these people, this established party, Democrat Party, they already had their person out there and they'll pump them with money. So you now, who is grassroots, you don't stand a chance. That's not democracy. So at the end of the day, they get this one, to project them in front of you. That's who you're going to vote for. Because we're in a two-party system. At least independent, progressive, leftist, anyone with an idea to make this country better should have the chance. You stop tying leftist to bad stuff. Tie leftist to progressive. Tie progressive to leftist. Start tying MAGA to right. MAGA are not right. They're just MAGA. They'll make America great again. That's what they are. Call them for that. Don't add no right to them. Don't try to demonize them. These are decent human beings that just want the best for this country. And that's who we're campaigning for. We're against all of that old establishment people that keep using race, gender, sexual orientation. Stop. If you're going to run for office, run on issues. Tell the people what you're going to do for them and do it. You understand? Don't tell them something, you go there working for someone else. This is what you're doing. That's why grassroots candidate, anyone from the grassroots, it's hard for you to win anything. because they will load you with odds from outside group just so you don't win. They will demonize it, whatever they can do, so you don't win. They will find all kind of things, go in your closet, pull out something in your closet that you didn't really know about, just to make you look bad, just so they stay in power. These people are despicable, and they need to stop dividing our country. I live in this country now. I live here now. You know, I think a politician can be better. A politician can be a force for good. Can be a force for good if they want to. There are good people out there that are full of integrity, full of transparency, full of kindness. They want to do better for this country, but they are not given a chance because it looks like the thing is already set up for these same people that you see over and over again, and the children, to keep ruling the masses. And then they're going to sit there with their big lips talking about how it's a democracy. I said, people are stupid, you know? And Chuck Schumer, stay away from black people. Talk about Hispanic. Talk about white people. You'll never tell white people they can. White people are one of the most organized people when it comes to election. I know white people. White people don't play when it comes to election because they always inform themselves. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be trying to inform our people of people like you. White people, when it comes to election, they vote. Hispanic, when it comes to election, they vote because they know that's what power is. They mobilize, they organize their people, they educate them to vote. We don't need you, Democrat Party, and Chuck Schumer advocating on our behalf. You've been doing that stuff for the past 50, 60 years, and we've seen nothing. Absolutely nothing. You understand? Just leave black people alone. Focus on your whatever it is that you're doing for who you're working for, and just leave black people alone. Donald Trump needs to straighten up that stuff because that's what he ran on. He said he was going to do something about election integrity and transparency. That's what he said. I personally support that because you're not supposed to participate in any election in this country if you're not allowed to vote, if you're not a citizen. Because that's what keep you people 30, 40, 50 years, you're still in the same place. I bet you if you check that man's account, Chuck Schumer, he's a multimillionaire now because the longer you stay in Congress, the richer you get. And he probably never going to work. He's not going to own a business. I doubt if he ever owned a business in his life. He just getting paid from the taxpayer, getting paid. And all of a sudden, he's a multimillionaire on the taxpayers. People like myself that go work, bust my butt every day. And he's doing nothing. Taking, just milking. And then he's still there. Give a chance to some bright kids in New York to take that seat. Even if that kid gets up and try to take, that kid should be a progressive, or a woman should be a progressive leftist in the Democrat Party. So they can kick you out of that place. And you tell Al Sharpton to stay away from black people too. Because he's doing nothing for black people. He's whining on Trump. Trump used to be your friend. Everybody knows that. He don't whine I listen to him every Sunday. Come on there and whine. He gets these people calling. Some of them are like they're stage callers, and most of them are black. Some of them call from places all over the country. And when you listen to what they say, I listen to you at Sharpton every Sunday. You listen to what they say. Some of the things they say don't make no sense. These black people that keep calling your show on Sunday, I listen to them. Some of the things they say don't make no sense. These are the old people, the old ones, the ones that were born back in the day. And it's still reminiscing on back in the days when they fully know that black people can afford $25. And even if they cannot, people of color is how you call them. Why don't you buy the help them pay for their ID? Some state ID is cheap. Driver's license is a little bit expensive. Start like a drive, a fundraiser, whatever, to help them. But I bet you if you even do that, you won't find that many black people with ID. Black people have ID. And stop peddling that narrative that black people cannot afford. Even in the destitute, the poorness, they can afford at least a state ID. You need to stop that. I know you do this bogus statistics out there, like people, minority, students, elderly, but there are so many reservations out there for them. There's so many ways you can participate in an election. You can vote absentee ballot if you want to. You can do that too. There's just so many ways. In other countries, if you're on the day of election, you don't go to vote, you didn't vote. But in this country, they make that possible. Some countries, they give you like a week to vote. Whole week, you're voting until that election cycle is over. But this country, they do it one day. But you can vote prior to the election day. So you have enough time to vote. There's no excuse. So why are you making case on allegation or allege, allegation? If it's true, fix it. Strengthen the voter registration laws so that way no one cheat. With just the cheating, it's illegal to participate. That's the law. It's a law everywhere in this world. You don't participate in an election if you're not supposed to. If you listen to Chuck Schumer talk, I've listened to him for a long time now. He would never mention this phrase that I said, that it's illegal to vote in an election if you're not citizen or if you're not eligible to vote. He's not going to ever say that in any of his speeches on those platforms, traditional media. Because if you go to, Chuck Schumer would never show up on Scott Field. I think Scott Field is one of the best journalists in this country right now. But let me tell you, Chuck Schumer, if you really want to get a good question, go on Scott Field podcast. Have him interview you. Or even call, what's her name? Candace Owens, and talk about voter ID law or voter registration integrity. Talk about that. You're not going to go there. Or any of your Republican podcasts out there or independent podcasts and talk about this subject and see. They're not going to give you no leverage. They're going to ask you a real good question. The reason why I'm talking about you understand? Chuck Schumer, the reason why I'm talking about you, because I've always seen your face on this subject, especially on this matter. I've always seen your face. But you have 2 years. Even the last congressional election we had, you were out there too. And you had 2 years to fix that. But once the election is over, Chuck Schumer go in the hole. He doesn't show up again. He comes out when it's time to vote another 2 years. Because he's the spokesman for the Democrat Party. And I say, anyone that use race, especially talking about black people, I talk about you. I don't care if one person watch my videos. But at least the message is out there. Even if it take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, somebody is going to watch it anyway. But we're sick and tired of you playing that crap on us. Those days, if you haven't seen the writing on the wall, Democrat Party and Chuck Schumer, if you haven't seen the writing on the wall, the writing is on the wall. And it's bigger. You don't have to interpret it. And it says, go away, leave black people alone. You haven't done crap for black people. You haven't passed a meaningful legislation for black people. If you truly care about voter ID registration, why don't you, and you care about whether they have their low income or not, they can afford it, why don't you provide the funds? You know why? If you go to the hood or the ghetto, wherever you want to call a neighborhood where black people are, If you want to do this experiment, do it and see. You find out that maybe only 2% is going to show up with ID. And 99% of the time, they're going to be homeless. And then you can also help them too. Give them money. Give them $25. Or you can go to them follow them to the BMV. If you don't trust that they're going to buy the ID with your money, follow them to the BMV and say, I'm here to purchase an ID for Mr. Jones. That's how you do it. Instead of you going to Congress that do nothing anyway. You know, all of you are the same, Republican and Democrat. Y'all be playing on people's integrity. And you think it was stupid. Go away. In the state of Ohio, we have something called precinct. Everyone that enters the precinct, no one needs to tell you. Because the way you vote is based on your address. But even if you don't have an address, you can still vote. But at least you need to show an ID. I think it's provincial. You can vote that way too. You do the paper ballot. But you have to have an ID. You go to the bank, you need an ID. You go to certain gas station, if you want to buy certain product that require IDs, you have to have ID. If you go to federal buildings, you need ID. If you go to the club, some clubs require you have ID to enter. There are certain places at the airport, certain things you want to do, you need ID. So if those places can require you to have an ID to vote, you're saying that they shouldn't stop them to vote because they don't have an ID, because they're so poor they can't afford it, because they're people of color, because they are older people. You know how many older people have an ID? Or because they're student? So you're exempting them? Is that the argument you're making? They're so poor that they can't afford to pay for a $25 ID. And even if they can, you give them the money to. You do that. We are sick and tired of this argument. And if you don't have any other argument, Chuck Schumer and the Democrat, if you don't have any argument, if you run out of argument, go sit somewhere. Let someone new come up. And those new people we're looking for are MAGA, progressive, aka leftist, to take over. Because they're young and their brains are young. Not anything against older people, but they have vision. And the vision is not old. The vision is not looking in the past. The vision is moving forward. And that's what we want. We want forward moving, ever vision people. And Trump, press on this. Because let me tell you, if there is a reform on voter ID registration in this country, it would ultimately or eventually lead to solving the issue of border reform or border security in this country. Those two, my friends, are intertwined. They are tied together. And if you can solve one, you'll be able to solve the others. As I've always said in my video, I want to thank all those people that are subscribed to my channel, all those people that watch my channel. And most importantly, as I've always said, the greatest thing, my friend, of friends, that could ever happen to anyone, it's not the day you're born, not the day you had your first child, the day you graduated from high school, college, the day you became a lawyer, doctor, whatever it is that you're working on, my friends. The greatest thing that could ever happen to you is the day you discover yourself. Because from that day on, my friends, everything will start to make sense to you, including understanding some of the lies and tactics these people have been playing on us for the past 50, 60 to 70 years now. And they are not stopping They're going to continue using the same old face, the same old name, and the same old individual like Chuck Schumer. They need to go away. Americans, people of color, what? Just say black. That's a code. Black people. Don't say people of color. Black people are not people of color. They're black. In low income, that's code too for black people. But if you look at the statistics, there are more white people that are low income. If you look at the statistic now, but they don't do that. They talk about it as if it's black people. And they're so dumb, they're so poor that they cannot afford ID. And they don't even know that you need ID to vote in the first place. That's how they think about you. And we're going to change that narrative because we know it's not true. You understand? The narrative is what they've been having power over. And that's what we need to take back. We need to take back that narrative from them. We know they got their people all over the place. And these people are not stupid. These are not stupid individuals. These are intelligent people. But they use mind game on you to keep you stuck in 1960, 1940, 1950, 1930. Even though you're trying to move out of that into 2026, when technology is talking and interacting with us in a way we've never seen before, and yet they still think we're dumb. Stay away from black people. Stay away. Thank you and have a blessed day. I hope that you are safe. Hope all is pleasant for you. And most importantly, my friends, hope you are in good health. Thank you, thank you, thank you.